I hope that you can see me and hear me, which is even more important than you don't have to see me, but it's important that you can hear me. Um, Joe and I welcome everyone that was able to join us this evening for a wonderful, wonderful presentation by Kathyrne Gordon-Cuthbertson. It's a name that you are very familiar with. We've had Kathyrne on several occasions talk to us about her amazing cruise company that she works with, Oceania Cruises, and we have many loyal clients who have traveled with Oceania. So we know what to expect, and we know we are in for a treat this evening as Kathyrne takes us through everything new that is with Oceania and some lovely new itineraries. And we also want to touch base on one specific itinerary that we hope to be able to travel with you on in the spring of 2022. So that's only next year. We are already in 2021, so next year. So Kathyrne, take it away. Thank you so much again, Kathyrne, for being here with us this evening.
You're very welcome. I'm delighted and excited to be here with you. I'm just admitting people as we speak because people are.
So Kathyrne, while you do that, if I may just tell a little story about my recent experience with Oceania Cruises, if I may.
Sure, please.
One of my friends and clients said, Joe, I'd like to go on the world cruise, Oceania, January 2022. But Joe, it's waitlisted, so see whether you can get me on. I've traveled, with the Oceania. I'm a platinum member, so I should have some considerations. When I spoke with Oceania, they said, Joe, the list is extremely long. So after that, they said, well, here's the story. To condense this quite a bit, then they said, 2023 goes on the market, starts booking on January 27th. Now, I had been warned by the Oceania registration person that there was an extremely long list, and they probably just flipped right over onto the 2023 cruise. So on January 27th, then the thing went on sale. It got opened up, and I just couldn't believe my eyes next morning. I blinked several times. On the 28th, a 684 passenger ship was virtually all booked out, sold out, with the exception of a couple of ocean view cabins.
Yes, yeah.
So I've been telling folks, for a while, with this delay and this pause in travel, we really need 2 years in one because we need these twice the number of ships because so many people want to go traveling all the time. But this was proof positive beyond a doubt that folks are just really want to go. So thanks, Kathyrne. I don't want to hold.
Oh no, you're so right, Joe. And I think we all blinked our eyes a number of times when we saw how many people booked so quickly on the around the world. It's really quite phenomenal. And it is, as you say, a result of that pent up demand, that pent up readiness that we all have to get out there and travel. And around the world is just a fantastic experience. We unfortunately had to stop our Around the World 2020 midstream. We then had to cancel our Around the World 2021. And as a result, as you said, the 2022 Around the World just filled up so quickly. And then 2023, as soon as it opened, it was sold out as well. So it's fantastic. Now, if anybody on this call would really like to go around the world, though, in 2023, I would encourage you to, and not only around the world, any itinerary, I would very much encourage you to make use of the priority wait lists because things do shift around. It is a long time away, and so there will be some movement. I've even had some good results with clearing a couple of wait lists in the past week for the Around the World, even though it's just open. So, but it's an excellent point, is that we are really seeing a lot of people are ready and waiting just for the opportunity to be able to get on a ship and cruise this beautiful world again. So I'm going to get started. And before I do, I've just been admitting people as we go along here because people are joining a couple of minutes late. In a couple of minutes, I am going to lock the meeting so that we're all quite secure in here. And I also want to point out to you that there is a chat box that you can use. If there's any comments you have as I go through the presentation, if there are any questions you have as I go through the presentation, I won't stop and answer them immediately, but we will address questions at the end. And happy to kind of have you participate through the chat box in what's going on. I also might ask you a couple of times, a couple of questions for your input and ask you to just drop something in the chat box if you have a comment to make. So I think, well, there's nobody popping in right now, so I'm going to get started, but I will check again in a couple of minutes just in case we leave anybody in the waiting room that really wants to get in. So thank you for having me to kick off your year for your presentations this year. And it is really, really exciting for me to be able to come to you and talk about all of the exciting things that we're going to be doing as soon as we're able to get back at sea. Of course, right now, today, nobody's traveling anywhere, and we know that that is a fact, but we're getting very, very ready for when we can sail again. And we had our virtual sales meeting in the first week of January, and we heard about all of the exciting things to come. Some of them I can't even tell you about yet, but I will give you a little hint that we are working very, very hard on our 2 brand new ships that will be with us in the future. And you know, it's not that far away because now we're already booking people for 2023 on some of our cruises. We will be launching 2023 winter on the 3rd of March. And then in the fall, we will launch the rest of the year. And that is when we will have our new ship itineraries available for booking. So there's a lot of exciting things to happen in the future. And we're just starting, we're just going to get started again to get back to sea and get all of you traveling again. I want to thank Cruise Holidays of Clarkson, Janetta, Joe, the team so much for everything you do for us and for your clients on your clients' behalf. It's been one heck of a year, and I'm sure that everybody on this call appreciates so much having a fantastic travel advisor in their corner to help them figure all this out. And if there are any little snags come up, to help them get through those and to introduce them and get them ready for the future itineraries that are going to be launched. So thank you for having me. And I'm sure your clients feel the same way. So tonight, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our healthy return to sailing. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about why Oceania is going to be an even better choice for you as we move into the future. And quite a bit about some of the new itineraries that we're going to be launching and have launched for 2022 and will be launching for 2023. So lots and lots to talk about. Just admitting somebody right now as I'm talking to you. And I'm going to start by just touching on health and safety. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on health and safety tonight. I know it's a big concern for everybody, and it's a huge concern for us too. But I can assure you of 2 things. Number one, when we sail again, we will be doing it in the safest and healthiest way possible. I don't know when that will be yet. Right now, we are paused through to the end of April, and you could hear about more pauses in the future. We make our decisions based on how things are progressing, and so that's why we don't make them far in advance. We try and be in a position where we're nimble and able to respond and react. But we have had this Healthy Sail panel in place for several months now. They've worked through all of the possibilities of getting back to sea and doing it in a very, very safe way. Already, all our ships have been completely upgraded with new filtration systems, and we're all ready for that. And as we go through there is a section on our website that you can go to that talks about everything that we have announced about health and safety. I can't answer any specific questions that I know that you could possibly have, because I just don't know yet. And before we sail, we will have everything very clearly spelled out. What I can tell you is, as I said, the ventilation systems that have been replaced, all of the extra medical staff that we will have on board, all of the planning that we have, that we are putting in place now for our destination experiences, the preparation of our crew, and the testing and all of the things that we're going to be doing, all of that is going to be fully implemented before we sail again. And as our fearless leader, Frank Del Rio, says, he won't set one ship in the ocean until he feels very, very safe putting his own mother on it. And that is how safe our ships will be, is that we will all feel very, very comfortable that we'll have you in a healthy and safe environment. And tonight we're really going to talk about cruises in the future. So we're going to set ourselves in a place where all of this is quite behind us. We're in a much safer world. And I'm going to talk to you more about 2022 itineraries and beyond. Also, we have our book with confidence policy for any cruise that you book that sails by the end of October of this year. If you book it before the end of February, you can cancel that cruise for any reason once you've paid in full, up to 15 days prior to departure, and you would get a 100% future cruise credit at that point. So that's if you decide to cancel and you decide you don't want to go for any reason, you would get a future cruise credit. I can also tell you that when we unfortunately had to cancel our April cruises, this just happened a few weeks ago, we gave everyone who was already booked in April a 100% refund. There were no future cruise credits. There was no more of that. It was simply, we gave a refund to everybody who was booked in April. So it really, we've thought about all the ways to give you the confidence to be able to move forward and make your plans. And again, all of this is on our website. As soon as you go to the website, there's a tab that says Travel Assurance Plan, Health and Safety, and you can read all about those things in as much detail as we have released. And as we have more information, we'll release that information to you. So with that behind us, we're moving on, and we're going to talk about when we are ready to sail again. Why would you choose Oceania Cruises as your next cruise experience? And what you're looking at right here is our pillars of distinction. And that is, these are the reasons why people sail with Oceania. These are the things that we do the very, very best. And first of all, we have small ships. And that has always been a very huge appeal for our clients, because they are people who appreciate that personal attention to detail, the luxury of having a smaller ship with more space per person on that ship than the big ships have. And as we move forward, people are looking even more to be on a smaller ship with less people and in that kind of an environment where they don't feel like they're part of a huge crowd. So more and more people are looking at us at Oceania for the first time because they do want that smaller ship. So it's going to be even more appealing than it ever has been in the past. And probably a lot of you are listening tonight because you are very interested in sailing on a smaller ship. Also, the itineraries that we can do, because of the ships being smaller, we can get into a lot of different ports of call. And we can get into ports of call that are not necessarily always in big city centers. We can also get out to the more rural ports of call, where you can be out in the open spaces and in places where, again, you're not going to be so crowded. So we have some really beautifully crafted itineraries. And of course, we've always been known as the finest cuisine at sea, and that does not change. And we're not going to talk a lot about dining tonight, but rest assured that dining on Oceania is like dining in a fine shoreside restaurant. And it is something that, if it's not the reason you come to us for the first time, it's often the reasons why people come back again and again. So before I get into a little bit more about the itineraries, I think we've kind of got everybody in our little meeting right now. So I am going to just lock the meeting so that we're all safely in here. That's been done. And we're all set. Okay. So again, those smaller ships, just to give you an idea, just a visual of it, you look at this little ship at the bottom. That's our, what we call our R-class ships. We have 4 of those, and they sail with only a maximum of 684 guests. Then we go up to our O-class ship, Marina and Riviera, and they sail with just maximum 1,250 guests, and those are our very largest ship. So when you look at the background outlines of the other ships, those would be more the premium market ships, the Celebrities and the Hollands and the Princess that sail with probably up to about maybe 3,000 people. And we know that there are lots of even larger ships out in the cruise industry as well. So this just gives you a really good visual of the size and the comparison of the Oceania ships. Talking about travel trends, Joe started us off that way by talking about the quick booking of the Around the World cruise. But what we are also seeing, and Jeanetta and Joe might have some comments about what they're seeing as well, is that we're finding that a lot of us have been sitting waiting to travel, and we are still waiting to travel. And so a lot of us are looking at booking longer trips. When we finally can travel, we want to maybe extend that cruise. So instead of going on maybe a 12 or a 14-night cruise, a lot of people are extending that into 30 days or 45 days or some longer length of cruise to explore more of the world, to make up for that lost time that we haven't been able to travel in the last couple of years. And Jeanetta and Joe, you might have some comment on if you're seeing the same thing. Oh, I don't think I can hear you, Jeanetta. So I'm going to have to unmute you somehow. I have to find you. I can't hear you at all. Wait a second. There we are. We've got to get Jeanetta back on the, there we go. Oops. There you go. Can you talk to us now, Jeanetta?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
Thank you
Okay,
for that.
good.
I was trying to gain my voice, but my sound, but it was not coming. Absolutely right. We are seeing that trend with cruising. We're seeing that trend with, you know, the other group tours that we have where we combine a cruise with land. Well, I mean, it's we want to make up for all the missed times that we had in 2020, in 2021. These are places that people had wanted to travel to and they couldn't. We couldn't go anywhere. So yes, absolutely, we're seeing a trend towards longer and more bucket list experiences.
Absolutely. And as a result, a lot of those longer cruises are selling out. So if you are thinking of doing something like that, then the earlier you book, the better, because it is going to be a situation where if you wait too long, you might be disappointed. So we not to say that to push anybody, but just to let you know the reality of the fact is that a lot of our destinations, I was going to talk about Tahiti, for example, tonight, and I'm not going to even talk about it because it's completely sold out 2022. We will introduce it for 2023, and that will come out on the 3rd of March. But there are lots of destinations like that for next winter that are just simply starting to be sold out, and more of the longer journeys are starting to be sold out as well. So that's really what we're seeing in terms of the trends of what people are booking. And like Jeanetta said, those bucket list items, those dream trips that people have been always thinking about taking, I think we're realizing now how precious time is and how there's no time like now, excuse me, to get those reservations in place. So it's really exciting to see. And I'm excited about so many of the itineraries that we're going to talk about. I want to talk a little bit to you about the Circle of Japan, the round trip Tokyo cruise that we do that has always been extremely popular. And we are going to be doing it in the spring of 2022. Jeanetta and Joe and the team spotted this one right away and said, we really want to get this out to our clients and talk to them about doing Japan. This cruise does pretty much just Japan. So we have lots of different types of itineraries, and this is something Oceania is very much specialized in over the years, is finding a specific destination and really focusing on doing that destination in depth. So this is our round trip Tokyo cruise to give you a full Japanese experience. And my goodness, when I look at this picture, I think this is completely the reason why I'd like to go to Japan. I'd like to be in this garden with this pagoda and just to be able to enjoy this unique and beautiful scenery and the colors that are just so spectacular. Of course, we do Japan in this round trip. Japan is at the end of April, the 25th of April, and that is when we are likely to be there for those ever famous cherry blossoms in bloom. Again, I love flowers. Every destination that I go to, I marvel at the beauty of the gardens and the different styles of gardens in different countries. But Japan, so known for it, and especially those beautiful, beautiful cherry blossoms. And look at the diversity of that cherry blossom overlooking a mountain. I mean, it's just absolutely spectacular. So scenery is certainly one of the reasons why many people want to discover Japan. But of course, there is so much ancient history. There is so much there that really takes you back in time, and the breathtaking temples and the shrines that you're going to see. And each part of each place that we stop has something quite unique. This is, of course, Kobe. And in Kobe, it's the cradle of the Japanese arts, literature, crafts. So you're going to see all of these spectacular shrines and temples on your stop in Kobe. An absolutely amazing, amazing spot. Now, Hiroshima, of course, we all know of Hiroshima from our history. It seems that time is really moving on, because it seems like it was a long time ago. When you look, it was just 1945 when the bomb was dropped on this spectacular city. And so there are the museums dedicated to the bomb, and there is all of the history of that. But of course, you also have the beautifully landscaped Hiroshima Gardens, the castle, all of these sites in Hiroshima to experience and enjoy. And Jeanetta, I know that you have been to Nagasaki, and so maybe you might have a little bit to add about Nagasaki, because you've personally been there.
Yes, actually, it's been a few years now that I took my daughter on a cruise to Japan. We cruised from Shanghai on that particular cruise, and we ended up touched on a few ports in Japan, and one of them being Nagasaki. We went to Osaka and Shimizu, obviously for Mount Fuji, as well as Tokyo. And yeah, we would love to go back and see the rest of it. I never made it to Kyoto and Kobe on that particular cruise. But Nagasaki, for me, it really displays the soul of the country. It has very rich heritage. Japan, as many of our listeners know, is really a combination of two, I don't want to say extremes or opposites, of super developed, a modern country with all the technology that they come up with and develop year over year, and then old heritage that goes back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And they've done a phenomenal job of preserving it. All the temples, the gardens that you were describing earlier, it just gives you a sense of peace and innate satisfaction that you are in a very special place. So absolutely recommended. Personally, I like to travel in destinations where I can see that old heritage.
Yeah.
And whether it's through the customs or it's through the buildings, the architecture, the traditions. I like to see the tea, the famous popular tea ceremony, tea preparation ceremony. Would like to see the samurais. Would like to see, the geishas, of course. And for those of our clients that will come with us on this trip, we'll definitely arrange for a meeting of some sort. When you go to Kyoto, especially, there is a famous part there where the geishas, even to this day, are present. So, definitely to get exposure to that and to read about the geishas, and their life, what their life really has been. So it is a phenomenal journey.
It's fascinating. It's just fascinating. All of those aspects, like you say, it's so diverse and it has so much to offer. And the other thing that I haven't had the pleasure of going to Japan, but that's why we do this as a unique and complete destination, because there is so much there for people to see. And the other thing that I always hear from people is the cleanliness of Japan, how it is just so incredibly clean. And in a place where, you know, there are millions of people and all of this going on and tourists and everything else, it is still an impeccably clean destination as well. So all of these things just make Japan the most spectacular destination, and certainly worth doing a trip of Japan just on its own. But tonight, I'm sure you've all seen that commercial for the lottery on TV, where the dream coach comes in and says, but I want you to dream bigger. You have to come up with something more. That was spectacular, but what else can you do? And so if you're going to go all the way to Japan, and it's pretty far, then why not, when you've finished that beautiful circle of Japan, carry on with your cruise and continue on to see other parts of Asia. So this, for example, is an extension of that cruise. It goes from Tokyo and then on to Singapore, and of course going through China and Hong Kong and all of these other, absolutely, Vietnam, beautiful, beautiful destinations that is so much worth making it a longer, more exotic and even more special trip when you're going all that way to the other side of the world. Also might mention to you that the Japan portion, that first portion that we talked about just around Japan, is also on a very, very special sale that I'm going to tell you about at the end of this presentation. It really is there is some really great value if you are thinking of doing Japan. This is a really great time to book it. But think about these extensions, because there are so many possibilities. We design our itineraries where we change them back to back to back. So there's often a possibility for you to just carry on traveling. And I think that's something that's going to be more and more popular as we get into 2022. I want to talk to you about the summer and spring, summer, and fall of 2022, because that is going to be here before we know it. And it's going to be a very, very busy travel year with, again, people who have been waiting for a while to do some fantastic traveling. And we talk now at Oceania about remembering the future. We remember so much about the places that we've been in the world. And I'm sure I look at this picture, this green fields, and I think of Ireland, and I think of some of the beautiful places that I've been in over the years, and many that I just would love to just go back to, and some I just would like to go to for the first time. And I'm sure you all have the same kind of ideas. So if anybody it pops into their head a place that you just remember and you will never forget, and maybe you're longing to go back again, just put in the chat box what that place is, and we'll take a look at the end and see all of the places that the people who are joining us tonight have traveled to, and all of the places that we're all dreaming of going to again. And I'm going to start with the Northern Europe, the Baltics, the British Isles cruises, because this is a very, very popular destination for 2022. And when I look at this cruise around Ireland, I did all of Ireland. I did quite an in-depth tour of Ireland, and it is such another incredibly diverse place with so much to see, so much culture, so much history, so much in the not distant past. So much has gone on in Ireland dating way back to the 1800s. It's just been such an incredible place with so much going on. And so we again take a cruise and we dedicate it just to Ireland. So you can go ahead and do an 8-day circumnavigation of Ireland. And because Ireland is such a small country like Japan, you can get to all of those inland places, even though you're going on a cruise. And it's the very most convenient way of seeing all of the different areas of Ireland. So of course you start off in Dublin and you end up back in Dublin, and then you see all of the both rural and the city life that exists in Ireland as well. But Dublin is such a unique city, of course, known for all of its pubs, all of its people, all of its fun. Dublin is just a really, really fun city that you could be in for. And there we were in Dublin, my little group and I, having just the most fantastic time in the shops, in the pubs, just really enjoying the people of Dublin. And we actually happened to be in Dublin on a night when they were having the Pride Parade. Well, you want to be in downtown Dublin for a Pride Parade. Now, I'm a person who's lived in Toronto my whole life, and I would no more go downtown Toronto for the Pride Parade than I would jump off a bridge. But I happened to be in the middle of Dublin in the middle of the Pride Parade, and it was one of the most colorful, incredible days that I will ever remember. So Dublin is really a fun, fun city with so much to explore. You can go and see the Fairy Museum and all of these beautiful things, the Leprechaun Museum, and all of these beautiful little things that you see in Dublin. Then another stop that we have, of course, is Belfast. And Belfast is about as different as two cities can be. You get to Belfast, and it is a beautiful city. The Titanic Museum is in Belfast, and it is incredible to see. But then you also relive the history, a lot of what happened in Northern Ireland and the fighting and the battles that went on in Northern Ireland. And the wall is still up between the Catholic and the Protestant areas. And this is the wall. And it's this most incredible, I guess I kind of knew this, but to be there and to see it and to experience it through the eyes of the Irish is just really, really moving and heartwarming. Belfast is a city where I had so many tears about so many things, but they were just really beautiful tears. It was just a really, really beautiful, beautiful experience in a place that I will never, ever forget. It's really amazing to go there. And then all of these more rural places, this is what you think about when you think about Ireland. You think about the cliffs, you think about the castles, you think about the green fields and the sheep and all of these things that you see as you are on your tour. And this is, of course, the Cliffs of Moher. It's spectacular, spectacular scenery and just an amazing place to go. The castles are just, they're so authentic and they're so, it's like no place else you've ever been. The ruggedness of Ireland, it's really, really a beautiful, beautiful destination. Giant's Causeway, you would swear that someone went and carved out all of these rock formations in Giant's Causeway, but they are a natural phenomena, and you can spend hours just climbing over these formations by the ocean, and it's just, again, it's so much to see in Ireland. Highly, highly recommended. And a fantastic way to do it is on a cruise, because when you try and get from place to place and do this on your own, if you're going by land, it's either you're going to be driving, or you're going to have a driver, or you're going to have a tour. It's just so much work to go and be able to see all of this. And like I say, you don't miss anything, because it is small enough that you can get into all of the destinations that you want to get into by doing it on a cruise. We at Oceania have a lot of different types of excursions for you, and we put together different excursions to appeal to different interests. One of the things we do is our culinary tours, because we're so known for the culinary experience. And of course, that is both on the ship and in the ports of call. And there's a beautiful little cooking school, Ballymaloe Cooking School near Cork. And this is one of the excursions that we take our guests on, to have a cooking demonstration and to have a wonderful meal. And Jacques Pepin, many of you may know, as our master chef. He's a world-renowned figure in the culinary field. This is one of his favorite places. So we put the Ballymaloe Cooking School as an optional tour on this cruise, and it's going to be for the first time in 2022. So a really, really fun place to go. And then Ashford Castle is near a place called Cong, and I spent a few days in Ashford Castle at the end of my trip, and I would highly recommend this for anybody. It is a spectacular place. There's the actual castle, and then there's also the sort of lodge residences in the castle, also fantastic. And Cong is this quiet little sleepy town, but you can go up to the castle for afternoon tea. And one of my greatest memories of Ireland is they have stables here at Ashford Castle, and we actually got on horses and rode, and I hadn't ridden in many years, and we rode up to the castle on our horses, and I felt like I was in Downton Abbey and having just the most fantastic time of my life. So Ireland is up there on you must do Ireland. at some point in time. And now your dream coach is going to say, after you finish doing Ireland, carry on, because you can continue on after this short cruise of Ireland and spend as many days as you want. Here's a 22-day option where then you can also go and explore Scotland and explore a little bit of Norway and Copenhagen, and you can have this beautiful northern jewels from Dublin and end up in Edinburgh. So there's, again, the possibilities things that you can do are absolutely endless, as short or as long as you want, and you can build and build on it as you go. And I'm sure Janetta and Joe and the team would be more than happy to show you all the ways and take on the dream coach job from me after I'm finished and take you to all of these beautiful destinations. Iceland, have you been to Iceland before, Janetta?
I haven't myself, but Tal from our
Tal's
team,
been,
Tal,
yeah.
Tal has been. She traveled with the group actually a few years ago.
Right around it.
Iceland circumnavigation trip.
Fantastic.
Yeah, scenery. The scenery is just spectacular.
So much to see in Iceland, and such a popular spot. It is, any itinerary we have that has Iceland in it, it sells out so quickly. And as you say, we have cruises now that have several different stops in Iceland as well, so that you can really get immersed in that culture. It can be very expensive to do Iceland by land, from what I understand. So again, doing Iceland on a cruise is an excellent idea. So in various different ways, here's a beautiful 32-day cruise that's going to go from Reykjavik to London, with making a few stops in Iceland, but also doing Greenland and the North Cape. We don't do this itinerary very often. It's maybe only done once or twice a year. So if you do have the desire to do the North Cape, the desire to see Greenland and Iceland and all of this, the Norwegian fjords and this unique area of the world, this is an outstanding choice. And I mean, I am taking you on the extended dream journey here, but if you don't have 32 days and you don't wish to spend 32 days, you can just do the Norwegian fjords, or you can just do a portion of these cruises. These are all what we call our grand voyages, where we have just put together back to back a number of cruises so that you can take that extended journey if that's what you're looking for. But whatever it is that fits into your time frame, to your budget, to your idea of what it is you want to see, there are many, many ways of designing your perfect vacation. And then the transocean voyages. So every year we take our cruises between North America and Europe, or South America and Europe, or various different, we used to call them repositioning cruises, but we now call them transoceanic voyages, because we don't just put you on the ship in, let's say, New York and let you off on the other side. We build beautiful itineraries around these crossings. And to me, and probably to anybody who is a real true cruiser who loves to be on a ship in the ocean, there is nothing like crossing the ocean on a beautiful ship and being at sea for many days on end as you leave one land and in another. And it's just, if you really haven't done it before, and if you do love being at sea, I again highly recommend this. And we do it in different ways. So here's one for October of 2022, where we're going to go, basically the itinerary is from Lisbon to Miami. So we'll start in Lisbon and we'll end up back in Miami. But this is a very unique itinerary that we truly don't even do every year, but we do it on some years. And it goes into the north of Africa and into the Canary Islands, Tenerife, and in Funchal on the way back, and into these very unique ports of call that you don't often see on a cruise, but is a part of the world that is absolutely fascinating. I know that Casablanca is a place I'll never forget. And then of course you touch into Spain on this cruise, and Lisbon, you do a little bit of Portugal. So it's really got a lot of content. And then you get on the ship and cross the ocean back, stopping in Bermuda on the way and ending up in Miami. So a very, very nice way to avoid those long flights. Maybe some people don't particularly care for long flights, I happen to be, everybody's got an opinion about this. And I happen to be a person that likes to get on the ship in North America and get off in Europe, because every day I just lose an hour and slowly but surely I meander my way across the ocean. And when I get there, I'm refreshed and ready to do the rest of my touring. Other people say, no, 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 we like to go the other way because every day the days get a little bit longer and you just get to continue to enjoy the journey. Whatever way works for you, a crossing is absolutely spectacular. Now, if this isn't a huge dream, I don't know what is, but this one is 46 days. This happens in July of 2022. You can get on in New York City and you can come back to New York City. So you never have to take a long flight. You don't have to take those over the ocean flights into Europe and back. You can explore all of Northern Europe. You can explore a little bit of France and a little bit of Portugal, and then you can sail all the way back to New York. So this is a absolute round trip, beautiful journey that will allow you to see all of these incredible destinations. So something very, very different. And again, if this isn't your cup of tea and you don't have 46 days, you can just do Northern Europe, or you can just do whatever part of the Mediterranean or whatever itinerary you're interested in. This one is taking us a little bit more down to earth, so maybe not quite as long and quite as exotic, but I love this itinerary. In June, I would say an almost perfect time to be in this area. So in the south of France, in Italy, doing this kind of around the boot kind of cruise. And I show you this itinerary for a couple of reasons. One reason is you can see how we design our itineraries so that many nights we stay late in ports of call so that you have plenty of time to explore everything that you want to see. And then you also have some overnight stays. So on this particular itinerary, you have Venice overnight, which is just so spectacular. But it also shows you how we have a mixture of the smaller and the larger ports of call. So yes, on this itinerary, we'll stop in Rome. On this itinerary, we will also go to Livorno, so that if you haven't been to Florence before, you can certainly go and see the beautiful city of Florence. But let's say you've already been to Florence before, you still in your stop in Livorno could go and discover Tuscany and go to little places like the little town of Lucca and Pisa and all of these other beautiful little places that are out there in the countryside in Tuscany. So it is beautifully designed. So you've got some of the bigger cities, but you've also got some of those smaller, unique ports of call. You've got all of the beautiful area of Provence. And you also then, for a little bit of a diversion, something a little different, are going into Montenegro and Croatia and Slovenia, which is completely different, but something our guests so enjoy. I loved, especially I think Dubrovnik, because it is a city where the old historic city, walled city, is spectacularly clean and beautiful and pristine and amazing. And then you can go out into the countryside, into the homes of, we have some beautiful tours that are sort of a go local idea that take you into the homes of the local people. And they're so hospitable. And it is, again, such an interesting country that has been through so much. So this in 12 days gives you a very, very diverse and beautiful itinerary to follow. And again, on our Go Locals, we love to do some tours that kind of immerse you into a country through the eyes of a local, doing things that a local would do. So here, for example, we have a Black Truffle Discovery Tour in Provence. And it is a tour where you go out with the hunter and the dogs. It used to be pigs that searched for the truffles, but now they've got well-trained dogs that go out and forage for truffles and bring them back. And you have a fresh meal made with those absolutely fresh truffles that just came out of the ground. So it's a little bit different. It's doing things a little bit different. And everywhere that we go in the world, we have these Go Local tours where you can just, if let's say some people might be interested in art and architecture and history, and that's great. We've got those tours too. But this is another dimension if you want to see things through the eyes of the locals and learn a little bit more about the way people live and the things that they do that's unique to their destination. Another beautiful part of the world that we're going to go to, and more so in 2022 than we've done in years, is the Holy Land. We have a number of spectacular Holy Land tours. This one in September on Nautica is 12 days. And again, you can see the overnights on this cruise. You've got overnight in Haifa, you've got overnight in Venice, and you've got, again, some later stays in many of the ports of call, a chance to go to Ephesus, the ancient ruins of Ephesus, a chance to see a little bit of Greece as well. So a very spectacular destination that you can spend some time in. And again, what better way to do it on a cruise? You can get a taste of all of these things, and we will have some fantastic tours of all different types to show you all of these amazing sites. But another type of tour that we do is our wellness tour. So wellness is very much a part of the lifestyle in Oceania with our beautiful spa, Aquamar Spa on board. And we also then can take that wellness experience into the ports of call, because there are so many beautiful spas and wellness facilities in the world that are so unique. And this one, for example, is in Dubrovnik, where we can take you on a tour to this beautiful Lokrum Island and the old, and you also see Old Town in Dubrovnik, but it's such a beautiful, beautiful, different type of experience as well. So whatever it is that makes you happy, whatever it is that excites you, we've got so many options for you. The extended stays, I mentioned Ashford Castle, which I so enjoyed in Ireland, but we have extended stays in other areas of the world where you maybe want to stay a little bit longer in Israel, a little bit longer, maybe you want to go to Jerusalem and spend some time. We have a lot of extended tours as well for you. So lots of different types of experiences. We have, as I mentioned to you, the types of excursions that appeal to people who are looking a little bit more curious, that want to do those sort of local kind of adventures. We have the wellness tours for wellness seekers. And I didn't even talk really about our Epicurean cruises or tours, but we have a lot of culinary tours that take you to very beautiful culinary experiences in various ports of call, whether it be the markets combined with some unique little dining venues that our chefs have sort of sussed out and decided to take our guests with them to these beautiful little jewels that they found. So lots and lots of different experiences for you, depending on your taste. A lot of smaller groups, a lot of tours that are going to allow you to be, again, with less people, a little bit off the beaten path in many cases. So that's kind of an idea of some of the places that we're going to go in 2022. I think that I've got a few ideas here of people who are looking at either memorable destinations that they remember or places they want to go. I know somebody here has said Dubrovnik is right up there. So as much as it is with me, obviously, to other places. And I don't know this, George, you put Dubrovnik in. I don't know whether you actually sailed into Dubrovnik, but that has to be one of the most spectacular sailing at sea days I've ever seen, is sailing in or out of the port of Dubrovnik. We've got Judy, who's interested in Corfu. We've got lots and lots of different people who have different European destinations. Europe seems to be a popular destination on this particular call. So if anybody else has had any inspiring ideas while I've been talking, stick them in the chat box as well, and we'll take another look at the end, and any questions that you might have as well. So the value is also very, very important, we know. And when you look at Oceania, we are really positioned, as I've always said, that sort of entry level into luxury. So Oceania, with our smaller ships, with our very personalized service, we always, when we entered the market, which was about 18 years ago now, I've been with Oceania since the company started, there wasn't really, this little niche didn't really exist. So we kind of take you out of the more premium market. When I say that, I mean the cruise lines like Princess and Holland and Celebrity, where the ships are a little bit larger and they're a little bit more mainstream. We take you the next level. We're not going to take you all the way up to the top, like let's say our sister company Regent, which is an ultra 6-star. The difference between Oceania and a Regent or a Crystal or those types of cruise lines is that we're not as inclusive. We don't include everything, but we include a lot of things that the premium cruise lines don't offer, and I'm going to explain that a little bit to you as well. So our value is very important. When you look at your Oceania Cruise pricing, you will see our O-Life Choice fares. Those O-Life Choice, whenever you're looking at our O-Life Choice fares, understand that your airfare is included from our published gateways in North America. So that is a good portion of your fare. Then we also give you a choice. You can choose either a number of free shore excursions or a beverage package or a shipboard credit, depending on what works for you. We realize not everybody drinks, so not everybody wants a beverage package. So we don't just throw everything in, because if we did that, then you would be paying for everything, and maybe it's not necessarily the value that works for you. So this is how we've designed our pricing. And then we include the things that everybody needs. So everybody needs this. We've added to this over the years, because now these days, everybody needs to be connected to the internet. So internet's included. We include dining in all of our restaurants, and we didn't even touch on the culinary experience with us tonight, but it's spectacular. We include our 24-hour room service, which we're going to be even more expanding upon as we get back to sea. We include transfers now from the airport to the ship. And when you take our air, we include those transfers for you to get you back and forth to the ship. So all of these things, your specialty coffees, your sparkling and still waters, all of these things are included because these are the things that everybody needs. And so we include all of these things in our pricing. Then we have several dates where your cruise holidays advisor can include the gratuities for you as well. This is on selected cruises, but certainly they can give you an idea of there's a selection of cruises throughout all of 22 and even into 2023 as soon as we introduce it. So gratuities are a great value. They start at about $16 US per person per day, and they then go up from there depending on the category you're in. So look at that 42-day cruise that I was talking about and just think how much gratuities would be on a cruise like that. So depending on the cruise, there are a number of departures where we can include the gratuities for you through cruise holidays. And if it doesn't happen to be one of those cruises that you've got in your mind, because you're here tonight and because you've spent some time with us, we are offering you a $200 shipboard credit per stateroom for any reservation you make in a veranda or above by the end of this month. So that's just another little added gift for you. Right now, I mentioned briefly before that we do have a sale on. It just happens to be every now and then when there's a holiday. In the US, it's President's Day, and we had a sale on Boxing Day, or different sales we've had over time. So right now, starting today, we have a sale on. It goes through to the 23rd of February. Again, it is only on selected cruises. That Japan cruise around Japan that we talked about is on this sale, and it's up to a 4-category upgrade. And that can be a very significant savings on an Oceania cruise. This is combinable with our O-Life Choice, which is the free, the air included, the transfers included, and your choice of amenity, your shipboard credit, your beverage package, or your shore excursions. So those are the choices that you have on O-Life Choice, and that is included with the upgrade sale. It's not combinable with anything else. So it's not combinable with the $200 shipboard credit or any free gratuity dates, but it's really, really good value. And just to give you an idea of the value, here's an example. This is a cruise in November of this year. So if you really are itching to get away sooner as opposed to later, here is a quick little getaway for 10 days. And this cruise is on this special sale. It's round trip Bridgetown. What a lovely way to do the Caribbean without ever having to even stop in the US. And you can see this with round trip air in and out of Barbados, and all of your amenities that I described to you on this 10-day cruise. It starts at just over $3,000 per person Canadian in an ocean view stateroom, and under $4,000 for a veranda. So this is really just an example of the value. This is a spectacular cruise around South America that we're going to be doing next Christmas, the end of this year. And it is 20 days on Marina. And when you look at this one on the sale, again, $8,500 is your lead-in rate for a veranda with this upgrade. And that's Canadian dollars. And that includes your air into Lima, back from Buenos Aires, 20 days in a veranda on Marina. Absolutely spectacular value. So these are just some ideas. And there are many other departures that have this sale on, and they go right through to, there's a selection of cruises, including some cruises all the way through to October of 2022. So your cruise holidays travel advisor can tell you which cruises this does apply to. So again, I'm going to look at my little chat because I saw some chats coming in while I was still talking. But somebody said, let me see, they're interested in Chile to Argentina along the Cape cruise. Well, how about that? I just showed you one of those. So you were reading my mind. So there you go. That we do that several times too. That one I showed you happened to be on the sale for Christmas time, but it is a cruise that we do repeat. So we'll do it again in 2022 winter, and you can certainly get your information on that. Somebody else, Calvin, would like to see the Norwegian Fjords. And that is, again, I showed you a lot of Norwegian Fjords, and we have several different choices for the Norwegian Fjords as well. And I know that Jeanetta and the team will get back to you on whatever destination you are interested in. But it's great to have this feedback and get an idea that we're kind of on the right track here with all of these destinations that we're talking about. Somebody is asking about single supplements, and that's a very good question. And and I see Jeanetta did answer that question privately, or to everyone, I guess, but they can be as little as 25%, and they can be as much as 100%, depending on the cruise. So there is a selection of cruises that have a very reasonable single supplement, and your cruise holidays advisor will get back to you with what those dates are. So I think that's just most of the comments and questions, but I do really, really encourage you to, you are obviously from your feedback here, you are thinking of those destinations, you are getting excited about where you'd like to go next, you're remembering some of the places that you've been to before. The world is going to open up to us, and when it does, I know that we are all just itching to get out there. So I can't wait till the day we do one of those and these presentations, and I can say we're back at sea, we're sailing, and can't wait to get you on board and sail with you. So put your reservations in now, because you then will have something to look forward to. So even if it's not until 2023, the idea of going on that trip is going to keep you going. And somebody's asking if we have plans for 23. We absolutely have plans for 23. They will be unveiled on the 3rd of March. So I have to leave you in a little bit of suspense. The Around the World was launched already, and as we say, it's basically sold out. But on the 3rd of March, we will be launching all of our itineraries for the winter of 22-23. That will include the Caribbean, of course. It will include South America. It will include Asia, Africa. Where else do we go in the winter? That's all of our exotic destinations. Yeah. Where, Jeanetta, what did I forget?
Joe was just reminding me, Australia and New Zealand, of course.
Australia and New Zealand.
The South Pacific, right?
South Pacific, back to, so
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, I know this for sure. There's a huge interest always in Australia and New Zealand, and sometimes, and I haven't seen the 23 release yet, but we often do a circumnavigation of Australia, which is spectacular. It sells out in a minute, and it will sell out for 23. So as soon as those itineraries come out, we will get them out to you. And Tahiti is also one that's sold out. Tahiti is sold out for 2021. It's sold out for 2022. And so we really will sell out again for 2023 as soon as it comes out. I had the pleasure of doing Tahiti a few years ago, and it is just such a treat. It is like being on a little piece of heaven. So I see you're both nodding your heads because I think you've both done it before.
Couple of times, and I'll gladly go back.
I think grab group space on that as soon as it comes out.
Yeah.
Plan a Tahiti cruise in 23, and I'll go back with you. Sounds like a good plan.
Sounds like a plan.
And that's it. So thank you so much. You've all been amazing. It's actually 8 o'clock, so we've taken the whole hour up, but appreciate it so much. And I look forward to any feedback you have, and Janetta will always get me whatever, come to me if there's anything she needs or anything that you have to share with me. I'd love to hear it.
Wow, Kathyrne, we are sitting here and listening to you and looking at these beautiful slides and photos, and I don't know, I'm in dreamland right now myself. You know, through our work, obviously, we've been fortunate enough to have traveled many places in the world, but once you start traveling, you never get tired of it, to be honest. And once you see a place once, if you like it, and we like everywhere we go for some reason. And we want to go back. So
Place that you hate, right? Neither have
no,
I.
I have not seen a place I hate, to be honest. There is always something,
Learning.
yes, learning, meeting the people, interacting with the local people, you know, it's amazing, and that stays with you. So it's one big, beautiful world. And we have so much exploring to do. And as soon as it becomes healthy again, I'm sure we'll be on our way.
Well, we certainly will be on our toes looking for circumnavigation Australia and such things, which sell so quickly. I mean, that was quite a lesson. I never, if anyone had told me, but harking back to my opening comments about the world cruise, 180-day world cruise being sold out virtually in one day.
Yeah.
I would have said, okay, can be something else. But it really speaks to the pent-up demand that's out there. So we will be definitely keeping a very sharp lookout for the March 3rd unveiling of the late 2022-2023 itineraries, and getting notes out to everyone who has expressed interest on tonight's chat line or chat, whatever it's called. And if not, just drop us a line, call us, info@clarksontravel.ca will get to all of us, or you may have the actual names and addresses or email address of one of us that you might deal with or have been dealing with. So I want to say thank you very much for attending. You have anything else you'd like to say, Kathyrne, Janetta?
Well, first of all, to thank Kathyrne for her time and for preparing such a lovely presentation for us.
And the descriptions of such detail. I lived every spot.
You actually took us there, in each and every place you talked about.
Remember the future.
We were with you.
Remember the future. What a
I'm remembering the future every minute. I'm excited now. I'm like, I want to go too.
I know.
That's great. Well, you're very, very welcome. And everybody just reach out to your Cruise Holidays pros there, because you're in good hands with them. And I truly appreciate all of this. It's been fantastic and very enjoyable for me as well. So thank you.
Thank you all for attending. And thank you very much, Kathyrne, for doing this for us.
Thanks to everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and pour yourselves a nice glass of wine or whatever beverage you enjoy, and just keep dreaming.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
Night.
She left me.
Okay.
She's out.